What's up, guys? It's me, Jordan the Voices Guy. As you can see, a couple of changes from the regular podcast. We're back home, so I'm using the original set that I created and used one time. So that's good that we're back. Also, you may have noticed that my hair is a bit different. For about 2.5 years it was pointy, and now it's flat. And it was just a bit of a change. I'd had that haircut for a while, and it was growing on me, and I had always joked about how I'm not going to change it because I'm like, oh, I have all these important documents and pictures that have this haircut, so why would I change it? But, it was just a part of, I guess, growing up, Uh, every once in a while it's good to have some sort of change in your life, just to switch things up. It also helped that my friends would roast me constantly about my haircut. Things like, ain't no mountain high enough looking, uh, look like a Hershey's Kiss. But, I enjoy this haircut. It took me a couple days to get used to it. When it was first cut, I think I have a picture. If I do, I'll insert it here. It was very round, the way the barber cut it. It was round and smooth, and it wasn't what I was going for exactly, but I've started to let it get really curly. I'm texturing it, I guess. So I'm getting used to it. The plan right now is to grow taller and more textured a bit, and keep the sides really short. So as time goes on, we'll see what happens with it. But it's just another step into getting older, because I'm an adult now, and the idea is that you want maybe more conventional haircut as you get older. Not that there's anything wrong with a less conventional haircut, such as looking like a chocolate raindrop. That's all. It's just something that for a while I'd kind of wanted. And speaking of wants, pivot. It's the holiday season, of course, and the holiday season, for many people, is about love and care and appreciation, and for many it's also about gifts, because this is one of the things that we associate with this season, especially with commercialization of everything around this time. And recently I've been thinking about what do I want for Christmas in my case, different holidays for other people. Because, it's something that, when you're a kid, you're thinking about it all year. What do I want for Christmas? And I realize as I've gotten older, I think about what I want for Christmas less. And I, in turn, want less for Christmas. And, every year, for the last few years at least, it's generally just one thing. Maybe it's a pair of shoes, or maybe it's a Harry Potter wand, because I did that for a while. I still have them. But, I realized this year that there really isn't much that I want. Cause I don't know, I woke up, I think it was the day before I left college for winter break. I was sitting there, I was like, oh, do I really, I didn't ask my parents for anything for Christmas. And I was sitting there and I was like, well, do I really need anything? And I thought about it. And I was like, well, there aren't any fun things I need. I already have, technological devices that I use on a daily basis, and I don't really need to upgrade from those. I'm set, with t-shirts. I have too many t-shirts. To be honest, I have too many. I still have a bunch left at school. I have a bunch in a drawer, a bunch of my... So I have too many shirts at this point. I'm gonna get rid of some soon. But I was like, do I really need anything fun? Not really. I'm all set. I need logical things. I was like, if you can get me a warm jacket, because I know it's gonna be cold this winter, that would be great. And I found one at JCPenney, 75% off. Normally 120, got it for 30. I was like, ooh, that's a solid deal. But yeah, I didn't really notice I needed anything this year, and which is a lot better, because in the past I've been known to ask for some really crazy things. I never had a really long list as a kid, but I remember I would have just an insane list based on the items I asked for, because a great majority of the time they were things that didn't exist. I'll give you an example. I remember when I was a kid, I used to watch the TLC, which is now known for, shows about like fashion and, people who, like eat their husband's ashes. They used to be educational. That was the point. It was the learning channel. And now they've moved away from that because no one cared, essentially. But I remember in the morning they used to have this programming block called Ready, Set, Learn. And the main mascot was this penguin named Paz. And he had his own show, but he would also like do the commercials and whatnot, leading into the other shows. And there were a bunch of weird shows on there. There was Paz, who was about this penguin who lived with his mom, and he had friends who were a dog, a rabbit, and a pig, and he would just have fun adventures. There was a show called Brum about this car, this little yellow car that was in England, and he would like save the day all the time. There was a show called High Five about like these five adults, like these adult children who just like they were like in this weird like imaginary world set kind of thing, and they just like sang and danced. But one of my favorite shows during that time was called The Save'ems. The Save'ems was the CGI show made in Canada, I believe, about like these kid creature kind of things that would like they were like heroes essentially, and they lived in this tower kind of like the Teen Titans, and they would like have some weird little conflict going on at their place, and then they get this video call from some creature either like in the sea, in a volcano, or in the jungle, like somewhere else in a cave, I think. And they would like have to go in and help them. And they had these three different devices they used to get there. There was the sub chopper, which was driven by a character named Noodle. There was the zoomer, which was driven by a character named I can't remember. But my favorite. Oh, Custard. Custard was his name. Custard drove the the zoomer. But my favorite of all was the Cadrill, driven by this character named Kachung, who I'm pretty sure, I've checked back, I'm pretty sure he was a catfish. I don't know how that works exactly. He was on land. But it was this big red machine with a drill on the front. And he could just like drill anywhere essentially. He could like at the bottom of the ocean, he could drill through like rocks, and I thought that was the coolest thing on earth. And the controls were pretty simple. It was just like buttons, and that was it. You just like ka-chung, and you would push the button and they'd drill. And I was like, that is the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. And I remember one Christmas I asked for that. I said, Mom, Dad, I would really like a Cadrill. Like, oh, like a toy? I'm like, no, like a real one, like so I can get in it and just drill around everywhere. And my parents, they knew like this doesn't exist. They knew that out the gate, but they're not gonna crush my spirit. And so I remember there was a store, the Sharper Image, and during this time, the Sharper Image actually carried toys and DVDs from Ready, Set, Learn, because they were associated with Discovery, I suppose. Discovery, the parent company of TLC. And so I remember one day I was in there with my family, and I saw that they had a bunch of Ready, Set, Learn stuff, and I was like, oh, they probably got a Cadrill in the back. That was my thought process. There's a Cadrill back there. And, little kids don't typically ask store employees, so it's like, Mom, tugging on her shirt, Mom, can you ask, the man if they have a Cadrill? And she's not going to be like, no, it doesn't exist, because that would crush me. And so I remember this specifically. She turns to the employee, and she actually asked him if they had a Cadrill back there. In all seriousness, she goes, excuse me, and my son was wondering if you have the Cadrill from the Save'ems in the back. And the guy, like, I remember this, but I didn't understand why. The guy is looking at her like, what? Like, what are you talking about? And she's like, it's from the Save'ems, Do you have the Cadrill, like the life-size one? And I'm not even kidding. He went to the back and checked if they had a Cadrill. And, I'm just sitting there twiddling my thumbs like, oh, I'll be back in a sec, And, of course, he doesn't have one because, it wasn't a thing. So he goes, sorry, we're out. The Cadrills, we sold out. And I wasn't, like, sad. I was just like, like, I understand. They're probably really popular. And so, I didn't expect one, and I never got one, because, again, not a thing. But I remember thinking about that, and I was like, oh my gosh, I probably put a lot of pressure on my parents for them to try and find these things that didn't actually exist. So I really appreciated that. Um, so I'm glad I've gotten to the point where I want much less, or at this point in my life, really nothing at all. I have very little expectation in life. And that may be a really weird outlook, but I try to expect as little as possible. Because I'm not one of those people, oh, this has to go perfect for me. I go, no, there's a chance that things will go wrong. And if they do, then I'll be like, well, at least I was ready for it. I expected it. And if things go well, then it's like, hey, I was wrong, and things are looking pretty good right now. So it may be a negative outlook at times, but I feel like it helps for endurance sake. I try not to get my hopes up. And, I think that might have helped me to, become more appreciative of the things I already have and not expect, things to always go my way. Which I think at times can be important, especially around this time where we're surrounded by so many flashy signs and new things that, are supposed to be these big wants. I think the holiday season, while it is about, sharing and caring, it's also about being appreciative about the things that you already have and, not giving into, all these obsessions and these wants that, are just out there to get your money. So, hopefully that meant something to somebody that didn't come off as Jordan's just hates life, because I love life. So thank you for listening to this strange story of my childhood. I hope you got something out of it. I'll be here for another few weeks or so I'll probably do at least a couple more podcasts while I'm here. Maybe you'll get someone to sit down with me and have a chat. So yeah, thanks for listening. Take care. If I don't see you again, which I probably will in the next few weeks, happy holidays. So yeah, that's it. Take care. I don't know, it was a weird ending.